politics these days is this notion of identity politics, that we're going to win an election by dividing people, rather than inspiring people on our common humanity, on our common ideals, and our common culture, on the things that should unify us. We all want to be prosperous. We all want to be healthy. We want everybody to succeed. We want people to reach their potential in their lives. Now, liberals and conservatives are going to disagree with one another on that. No problem. That's what this is all about. So let's have a battle of ideas. Let's have a contest of whose ideas are better and why our ideas are better.
Paul Ryan is something of a darling at the moment in some Republican circles. Once a vice presidential candidate, now Speaker of the House when the job was forced upon him, and seen by plenty as the perfect alternative candidate for president this year when all hell breaks loose at the convention in Cleveland. He is not, however, seen as a savior by all, including some of those back home in Wisconsin who believe the time has come for Ryan to start worrying more about those who put him in office than those who seek to elevate him to another one. Our guest is a former Paul Ryan supporter and current businessman who is seeking to send Ryan back into private life, challenging Ryan for his seat in the Wisconsin 1st Congressional District. Welcome Paul Nehlen to the Hardline. Paul, thanks so much for joining us, and let me get right to the first question that pops up. You were a Paul Ryan supporter. Why you turned against him?
I was a Paul Ryan supporter. I pounded signs, made phone calls. I even gave his book away as gifts. And Paul Ryan has betrayed the district. He's betrayed me, quite honestly.
How? Tell us exactly.
With his support of the Fast Track Trade Promotion Authority, Paul Ryan is really attempting to sell our district down the river. He has supported the worst job-killing, industry-decimating, district-leveling trade deal, also known as Trans-Pacific Partnership, which will export our jobs overseas and will import workers to replace us in our own jobs here at home.
What about those who say, and again, I understand you're very, very hard on the TPP issue here with Paul Ryan, but those who say that, including Paul Ryan, who says it is necessary, and again, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, they say that it is necessary to drive jobs eventually to America.
We don't have a 5,500-page trade bill now, and we do a lot of business overseas. Paul Ryan will tell you that he advocates for free trade, but what Paul Ryan's really advocating for is a captured market. Paul Ryan is looking for an ability to channel this trade deal back to his special interest buddies in D.C. and Alexandria, Virginia, which I might add, I couldn't explain it to myself when I looked at Paul Ryan championing this process, this fast track trade promotion approval, and which is the precursor, as you know, to the TPP or Trans-Pacific Partnership. I couldn't explain it to myself. So I looked into Paul Ryan's campaign financing, and a lot of times you find the money tells the story, and that's exactly what I found. 83% of Paul Ryan's campaign cash came from outside of our district.
Okay, but let me get to this, if you will, Paul, only because I've got short time here.
Sure.
I want to make sure we get a few things in here. You talk about, and again, a lot of people talk about guys and gals who go to Washington, they become part of the establishment, whatever you want to say, and they get what you consider special interest money. All right, I'm going to put it to you then. As a guy who's never been to Washington, D.C., turns out that everybody sooner or later has got to get involved in special interest money if they want to make sure that they get things done back at home and also make sure they get things done in Washington, D.C. What makes you any better to say that you'd take the job if you started, of course, in Wisconsin, and then got to Washington, where you wouldn't do the same thing?
Well, I think the difference that I would paint between Paul Ryan and myself is Paul Ryan is clearly a career establishment politician. He's been in Washington since 1998. How can you say, Paul Nehlen, you're going to go to Washington and you're going to turn exactly into what Paul Ryan turned into? When we come from such diverse backgrounds, I started out in a manufacturing facility at the age of 18. I worked my way at night to get an engineering degree until I ran that factory. And then I ran factories all around the United States. And while my kids were in college, I was getting my MBA at night. Then I ran businesses overseas. I ran businesses in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. I've run businesses
but the
in
point
Canada.
is I want to make here, though, is, and I get all that, but the point I want to make is here, you're saying that you then would do everything in your power to be completely immune to special interest. You'd never take one. You'd never get involved in it. That's what sets you apart, and you consider yourself then a new generation. You'd never become that person in Washington, correct?
No, that's exactly correct. I've had special interest groups reach out to me already. Of course, they want to latch on to the new shiny thing, and I've rejected it. I've absolutely rejected it. I can't be bought. I'm putting a substantial amount of money in my own candidacy here, and I welcome outside donations. As I was saying, Paul Ryan is an 18-year establishment candidate.
Okay, I get all that. I only got 15 seconds left. What are your chances?
My chances are great. We have a path to victory. We're building a broad coalition across the political spectrum because we've been betrayed. Everybody in our district has been betrayed by Paul Ryan.
Okay, and a lot of people there believe that Paul Ryan has done the right thing. But everybody's allowed to get on that opposite side and believe they can do better. ElectNehlen.com is the website to learn more about it. Perhaps a new face in the Congress. Paul, thanks so much for joining us. We'll be in touch again. Stay with us. The fastest 60 minutes in news, The Hardline, continues.